Hello, my name is Victoria Avila, and this is relationship building in the classroom. So, starting off, in the reading, the authors Whittaker Good and then Whittaker emphasize that students respond best when teachers demonstrate that they care about them, they are communicating clearly, and also treating them as individuals and not people who are less or belittle the students just because the teacher is supposed to be like a higher up. It also talks about how like when we create those positive relationships with students, it increases their motivation, it reduces that behavioral issues that can occur, and it helps prevent them, and it also helps build that trust between teacher to student, student to student, and teacher to parent. It also describes that when relationships are built correctly, those bonds will be there to help you celebrate on your best days and also help keep your classroom cohesive on your worst days. Starting off with the first way I would relationship build in my classroom is having those daily positive interactions with students right when they step into the classroom. So in the reading on page 35, the authors share a list on ways to build relationships with students, and one of those is greeting students at the door. So I adjusted it to my content area, sharing that I think it's important to always remember students by their names and then matching their name to their face, and also greeting them at the door would be like saying buenos dias, ¿cómo estás? Me da mucho gusto que estés aquí, which means I'm very glad that you're here today. Another way is always checking in with students who are withdrawn or frustrated. I feel like students have there's so much going on in their lives outside the classroom, and there's going to be days where they're just withdrawn, there's something going on at home. So checking in with them, letting them know that you're here for them to support them. Um, if they want to come after school or during break to come talk to you, or even just sit in the classroom for some quiet time, kind of like that open door policy, is also going to help build that trust between the students, show that you care about them. Another thing was in the reading, it talked about how celebrating student achievements like high fives, special conversations is important, but I also believe that it's important to not only recognize and celebrate those small wins, but also celebrate the effort that students are putting into their learning and in school and not just achievement wise. Moving on to the second one is fairness and respect. This chapter 5 also mentions that one of the most important things recommended is to consider how you build relationships with students, is that remembering that relationship building is not just an event, but it's a thing that should go on every single day. And I feel like one of those basic building blocks is showing every student that you respect them. So it would be like rules and expectations are constantly being applied with students and with that classroom culture. So as a teacher, also with upholding those yourself and demonstrating students that you're also following the rules and expectations that students are also supposed to follow. Another one is listening to students' perspectives before responding and not interrupting or cutting them off. I feel like one of the main things, especially in high school classrooms, is where you kind of see students trying to get on the students' level and joke around with them like how they will with their friends. But I think it's important that you keep that student to teacher relationship as well, and you respect them by avoiding any sarcastic comments or publicly criticizing them in front of the classroom that can make them feel less or belittle their character as well, or even their learning attempts. And lastly, is treating every student with dignity in and outside the classroom. Next one is being culturally responsive, which in the reading there's a quote that says, "If you focus on making sure students feel heard, valued, and cared about, you are well on your way to building those crucial bonds." To me, this meant learning and researching about student backgrounds. A lot of students come into your classroom, they have different experiences, different home situations, they speak different languages. So as a teacher, you have to be willing to you have to learn about the student themselves and all that by either asking the student, getting to know them, or even sometimes researching about like their cultural norms is also important. You can even bring those and follow those in the classroom as well. So, as mentioned, creating an environment where all students feel included and valued. So, this would be in material readings that you're bringing into the classroom, making sure that every student feels represented and there's diversity um, in your curriculum as well. And lastly, learning about student lives outside the classroom, connecting with parents, contacting them um, by saying on connecting contacting them about good news on their student, not just calling them every time that their student did something negative. And last but not least is bringing those team building activities into the classroom. So, when teachers and students connect through instruction, it is a learning relationship that is another powerful way to connect. In the reading, it mentions that, and I thought like some fun ways to build relationships between student to student, build that positive classroom culture and environment, and also as a teacher to get to know students is having fun team building activities. So, for example, using games or collaborative learning projects to help break down those barriers and encourage teamwork with students and the interactive positive communication as well. And making sure that each activity that you're presenting students with is also allowing them to showcase their strengths and their talents and assets that they bring into the classroom and applying it into learning. Those are my four relationship building examples in the classroom. Thank you.